Gemini 3.0 versus GPT-5, which AI will reign supreme? So certain AIs are better for certain things, but in general, we're going to break down which of these tools is overall better. So here's what we know about Gemini 3.0 so far. References to Gemini Beta 3.0 Pro appear in Google's CLI tool codebase, hinting DeepMind is testing the next-gen version. So the expected features are deeper multimodal integration, advanced built-in reasoning, longer context windows, and real-time processing across devices. This is phones and cameras. Google recently released Veo 3 and Gemini API, adding high-fidelity video plus native audio generation capabilities. So they're expecting those capabilities to be part of Gemini 3.0. Gemini 2.5 Pro already has strong reasoning and coding, tool integration, and large context support. But 3 is supposed to take all of that to the next level. So what do we know and what are the criticisms about GPT-5? GPT-5 is intended as OpenAI's next leap, focusing on complex reasoning, multi-step workflows, and end-to-end content plus code generation. But the release was met with harsh criticism. Many feel GPT-5 under-delivered compared to expectations. In other words, there was severe overhype, regression, and less polish than its predecessors. For more, check out the Less Wrong blog on that. On Reddit, users compared GPT-5 favorably for nuance and consistency, but they also flag its stylistic quirks, a formal tone, occasional verbosity, and inconsistent personality. So let's go head-to-head with these two on strengths and weaknesses. Logical reasoning and common sense. 2.5 and 3 rumored is strong. Users report coherent, well-grounded logic. GPT-5 is reported as good, but sometimes verbose and overthinking. Nuance and consistency. Gemini 2.5 may struggle with subtleties or flip stances across queries. We'll see what happens with 3.0 on that. But GPT-5 is recorded to be better at nuance and consistent stance. Yeah, I find it to be pretty consistent in that way. How about multimodal and media generation? So GPT-3 is already integrating Veo 3 with better image models and anticipated expansion in 3. Veo 3 is also in 2.5. GPT-5 has strong text plus code plus perhaps media, but less focus publicly on video upgrades. And by the way, everyone who uses all 3, being Gemini 2.5, GPT-5, and Claude, tell me Claude is the best for writing. How about context window and memory? So Gemini 2.5 uses Gemini Flash to support large token windows. 3.0 is likely to push even more. GPT-5 handles long context well and has a long window. How about user experience and style? Gemini is very precise, factual, and sometimes technical. It leans towards no fluff, whereas GPT-5 is more personable, creative, human-friendly tone, though some users feel it's overly stylized. So what are the criticisms of each? For Gemini, recent security flaw via ASCII2 smuggling attack highlights input vulnerabilities. GPT-5, accusations of overhype, regressions compared to prior models, and dropping the magic. That was sort of my feel in a way. In Tom's Guide head-to-head tests, GPT-5 outperformed Gemini 2.5 in multiple prompt types, reasoning, creative, summarization. But Gemini's structural advantage, tool integration, aggressive multimodal roadmap keep it a serious contender. So who's likely ahead in the US AI race, with Claude being non-US? OpenAI has early mover advantage in the US, broad deployment, and good API ecosystem. GPT-5, despite criticism, still holds public mind share. So how about Google DeepMind's Gemini? DeepMind leverages Google's infrastructure, multimodal systems, and device integration across Android and Chrome. The impending 3.0 push suggests Google is aggressively trying to leapfrog GPT-5. So at this moment, GPT-5 likely leads in public perception and general purpose use. Gemini dominates infrastructure, tooling, and multimodal pipelines, especially video, and may close or invert lead with 3.0. So what's the conclusion? There's no absolute winner. Each is strong in different dimensions. GPT-5 is currently better in nuance, user engagement, and consistency. Gemini may outpace in multimodal video, tool integration, and device ecosystems. The US AI race is dynamic, though. OpenAI now leads broadly, but Google is pushing aggressively. For developers and users, you need to pick the model that matches most closely what you're trying to do. Nuance and tone, that's GPT-5, versus multimodal and integration, that's Gemini. But watch Gemini 3.0's launch, it could tip the balance. What do you guys think? Gemini versus GPT-5? Hit the comments. Also, please like, subscribe, and share this video. We greatly appreciate your support that way. And finally, please support us on Patreon. We need your support to continue to grow the channel and bring you resources that'll really help you in your work now and to keep your job. So my feeling reading everything I read to prepare this episode is, if you're a creator, GPT-5, if you're in coding or more technical fields, Gemini. That's my feeling. Thanks so much. See you next time. Take care. Bye.